All right, so I am Diane Sears, and I'm with Go for the Greens. I'm one of the co-founders. If you haven't met me yet, then please look me up because I'd love to meet you. And I am co-founder with Cindy Chase. Cindy, say hello.
Hello.
And Go for the Greens has been around for about 13 years. This is our first try at doing some virtual matchmakers and also virtual meetings. So we're pretty excited about it, and we're just thank you for being here. We want to introduce everybody else on the screen. I'm going to start with Desiree. Give us a wave. Desiree is going to be our kind of like our keynote speaker today. We're going to interview her about working with Moffitt Cancer Center. So Desiree Hanson has been with Moffitt for quite a while, and if you haven't met her, you're going to just love to get to know her. Nancy Allen, give us a wave. And Nancy Allen is with WeBEC Florida, which is the regional partner organization here in Florida, and she's going to tell us about some really exciting things. And Layla Eagle, give us a wave. Layla's our sponsor, and she's the one who's putting on all of our matchmaker sessions. So anytime we do these sessions here, there's a matchmaker session to follow. And Layla is with Collider Management Group, and she's donated her time to do this for us, for all of you who are on the call, so on the Zoom. So we appreciate you being here.
If you don't mind, real quick
yeah.
before you start the whole thing, thanks, Diane, and thank you to everybody being on the call today. For those of you that weren't able to be on the call last week, we started this with UPS, and so this is actually our second actual attempt at the webinar, or not our attempt. We're going to continue to move this along. So this is our second one, and we will be featuring other organizations as we are living in this COVID-19 virtual world. You will continue to see, hopefully, emails and e-blasts from our organization, and please let us know if there's any other organizations. I won't tell you who the other ones right now that we've got on the bubble coming back, but everybody, there's a lot of other supplier diversity organizations that right now, because of the the cancellations of so many events, they weren't able to attend and to meet all you fabulous women business owners. So just know that also we are going to be posting these virtual seminars or webinars on, I believe is it YouTube, Diane? So for people that missed it.
Yes, we have a YouTube channel.
Okay, so if you type in YouTube and you put Go for the Greens, you can see last week's actual event with UPS. And we will probably be doing more with UPS, and if Desiree has time to do more moving forward, we can do encore presentations. So with that, I will be quiet, and I'm going to go on mute. And Diane, thank you again for everybody jumping on, and thank you for everybody being here. And I have to give a shout out for Trek Group, who actually paid, was a sponsor today to allow us to enter more people into the chat room today, because we were at capacity. So Trek Group actually allowed us to do that.
We have somebody who's sharing a screen. There we go. All right. So so with that, we want to get started with Desiree. Desiree, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there at Moffitt and how you got where you are today with your career?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me today. Again, my name is Desiree Hanson. I'm the Manager of Supplier Diversity for Moffitt Cancer Center. This is March 9th was approximately 7 years that I, started at the Cancer Center. I'm very excited to be a part of an amazing organization that values diversity and inclusion. So in supporting the Supplier Diversity Program, we've developed many partnerships, including working with Nancy Allen and other organizations like the NMSDC and NABOC and other local government agencies in our area. And with that partnership, we have really been doing a great job at the Cancer Center engaging diverse suppliers in their procurement process. So actually, to be quite honest, this is a passion of mine. I started back, I would say I have over 30-something years without really putting an age to myself in procurement and diversity and inclusion activities. I've been in various industries. And so I think I I bring a lot to the table because not just working in the healthcare industry, I've worked also government and non-government institutions and private institutions. So it's just amazing how all those years of experiences really helped me to really have a successful and award-winning supply diversity program at the Cancer Center, which could not be possible if we didn't have the support and from our leadership, which is just amazing. I believe our success is because that is such an important part of what we do at the Cancer Center. It's even part of our, strategic strategy for the Cancer Center. Quite a few of my colleagues, I talk to them and I tell them, make sure that supply diversity is not just, is something that's also entrenched in the organization when it comes to the business imperative. So I believe that's a success, and I'm happy to be here to share, any information that I can to help suppliers to do business with the Cancer Center, because it's a great place to do business and with a great mission.
It's you have an event every year, and it's always so good, and it grows and grows and grows every year. When is your event planned, your next event planned, and is that being affected by COVID or?
Yes, so our next event, actually, we had announced that we were partnering with this was going to be our inaugural year through a partnership, not just with Moffitt Cancer Center, Tampa General, and the University of South Florida, because our event at the Cancer Center had grown tremendously. Last year, it was just, jam-packed. And so we thought we needed to leverage locally in our area, working with others in healthcare to see if we could put on a much larger event. And it was originally scheduled for June 30th, but because of COVID, we have to postpone that. And so we're looking at probably getting back together next year. So, but we're putting other things in place, more to come. I tell people to visit our website. We're doing things like this, webinars and other activities. We're very entrenched now, very much entrenched now with our new hospital that we're building. So I'm going to be involved in a lot of webinars as we talk to prospective vendors about doing business with the Cancer Center when it comes to this particular construction project. So more to come.
Yay. So Desiree, you've been telling us that you've been absolutely slammed these past few weeks or a couple months. Mm-hmm. And tell us about what you're looking for right now in supplier diversity. What kinds of things are you looking for in products and services?
Mm-hmm. So of course, we're always looking, as a Cancer Center, we actually procure almost every product or service because we have to support the facility itself. And of course, there's a need for the hospital. So, whether you're providing promotional items or you're providing a service, we look for all of that. But over the last few months, because of the impact of COVID, what has been critical, and I'm sure most of you on this webinar probably have called already or whatever, but there's so much needed items in the PPE items, which is the personal protective equipment. So for our nurses, the masks, the N95 masks, face shields, I'm gonna look at my list here, disinfectant wipes, gowns, anything to protect team members and the staff were things that we're looking for. So we, our procurement team, including Supply Diversity, has been working together, reaching out to suppliers. We had suppliers who are amazing, had contacted us and say, hey, we know you may be strapped for these critical items. And so getting in there early and talking to us, and we've been able to make some new connections. I have to also share, in this moment of crisis, I have to say I'm very proud of our businesses in the community, or small businesses. What they've been doing is, I've seen promotional companies that totally change what they do to address COVID. Like, for example, we had a few promotional items companies that contacted us and were able to get masks and gowns and provide that, because our large distributor, they are slammed as well. So we need many, many folks in the pot. So I have to say that when it comes to COVID items, everything, disinfectant wipes, goggles, shields, gowns, gloves, that's all needed. But then we also have another big need that we are forging ahead, which is our new Moffitt Expansion Hospital that's going to be maybe about 5 miles away from the main cancer center on McKinley Drive. And so right now, the project is on its way. The design build team is, and we post all of this on our website, which is moffitt.org/supplier opportunities. So right now, there are bids on the street for the construction company. The Prime has posted bids for elevators. They've posted bids for folks to help with site work, and they've posted bids to help with foundation. But coming up, there's going to be other opportunities for folks that can provide concrete, steel, books, door frames, panels. I would also say chillers, boilers. So anything that is mechanical, electrical, or plumbing equipment, they're looking for suppliers that do that. And those bids will be posted. So if you're in any, as you're listening to me, if any of those things ring a bell, if it's construction related for the new hospital project, we ask you to please visit the website, moffitt.org/supplier opportunities. And we are so transparent. We list the Moffitt bids that we have, and we also list the prime vendor. We make sure they post their opportunities on our website as well. So everyone has access. Yes.
That's very helpful. Nancy, if you have any questions, you just feel free to jump in, okay?
Thank you. Thanks. And I just want to say that I want to reiterate that Desiree is an incredible resource for everybody. When she started saying that she really believes that supplier diversity has to be entrenched in the organization, she is the one who has made that happen at Moffitt, and she gets recognized for that. So not only is she going to give you the Moffitt Cancer story, but she's actually going to help you get in there and live that story. It's a great, great resource and a wonderful community organization and partner. I've tried to list in the chat some of the things that you need, but Desiree, you were rattling them off so fast I couldn't type fast enough. Okay. So if you could maybe just say again the things that you need, I'll write them down and then I'll type them into the chat for everybody.
Or you did provide a list for Layla, maybe.
Yes,
Layla,
I did. Oh, okay. I sent Layla entire list of everything that we were looking for before the meeting. But,
I don't know if Layla can define,
but just if I have to say a little bit slower, I mean, if you think about anything COVID related, which means all the medical personal protective equipment, which includes things like gowns, things like masks, things like face shields, goggles, hand sanitizers, disinfectant wipes, and so on. So we get these things, they come in, but then we're gonna have a need again. So right now we're, again, hopefully if you're in the list, if you're registered with the Cancer Center, we can find you and we can contact you if we have a need or a shortage. So make sure that you do that. And if I didn't state that as well, if anyone on the call who has never done business with the Cancer Center before, it is so easy and simple because we post everything on our website. So we ask you to register, and that is at www.moffitt.org/supplier opportunities. That's where we put the list of the profiles for you to register, and we show you our bids. And the same thing, if you want to, from that site, you can pivot to Supplier Diversity, moffitt.org/supplier diversity, where you can find out additional information about events and about what we're doing. But that Supplier Opportunity site is where we actually put the bids, the RFPs, the construction opportunities, the prime contacts, and everything you have access to. So make sure you do that. And if I could also say, during the COVID period, I got to tell you, being registered was so critical because when the procurement team contacted me and said, Desiree, we're running out of blah, blah, blah. I need you to help us. I went right to that list and I was just calling people left and right. So that's how we reach out. We need you in there. So when we need you, we can find you and, can hopefully, that could be an opportunity right there. And I can't begin to tell you how many businesses, because of this, we've never done business with them before, but finally they they are now doing business with us because of this new situation with this pandemic.
So Desiree, tell us what kind of information you look for from potential suppliers for them to register on your site, or when you see them at events and that kind of thing. What kinds of information are you looking for?
So our registration is really simple. I think it's practically what any other organization would look for. We ask you to register, to tell us about your company, tell us what kind of product or service you are providing. We'd like to see a capability statement or a one-sheeter, but it's the old-fashioned word was brochure, but we learned that we're attention span is really short, so one-sheeter is great. Which is a resume, give us some highlights. I'm in healthcare, talk to me. Tell me about stuff that you've done, maybe possibly other health institutions, because sometimes just having some of that information, so MD Anderson, they work for, or blah, blah, blah. It also is something that we say, well, somebody else has used them before. But really telling us about your product and your service, and when we call you, being able to respond timely. So, because a lot of times, if we end up calling you, we probably have that same day we need something. So able to be nimble and being able to respond and provide the services that you say your company can provide if successful. So I think it's as simple as that. But we know, and I do, I guess, from being in this business for a long time, when I meet suppliers for the first time, I encourage them to be patient. I encourage them to understand our institution, so Moffitt Cancer Center. Do you know anything about us? Because it will help if you would visit our website, learn about what we're doing, learn about the clinical trials, learn about, the fact that our patients come from all over the world, that we're the largest NCI designated cancer center in the state of Florida. Once you understand our mission, because when you talk to us, you're going to talk to us from that level, right? And so tell us how unique your product is. How will it benefit the patients? Because we put our patients first. So anything that you do and say to us, we always try to see how is that going to benefit your organization or our patients. So suppliers just need to they need to understand the cancer center when they approach us, and just make sure that they are telling their story, and tell us about their product and how unique it is, and what is the added value, what is it that defines or differentiate their product from anyone else. Because of course, in cancer research, innovation is key, diversity of opinions is key. So we're always looking for that uniqueness, that product that is going to take us to the next level as a world-renowned cancer center.
Very good. Very good. We are having some questions come up on the side, and so I wanted to ask a couple of those. Let's see. One of them is saying, for your contingent workforce, do you use an MSP? And I'm not sure I understand what that question means. Or do you handle it in-house? And then they wanted to know, have you seen an increase in certain skill sets with COVID-19? So
that's a very good question. So yes, Moffitt Cancer Center has its own career center. So we actually folks, we get a lot of staffing companies that are registered with us. And so I have to say, basically, it is not a procurement function. So the diversity office makes sure that anyone who's in staffing, they receive information from us to contact our HR department. So what the HR department does is, once they are registered with the Cancer Center and they contact HR, because anything staffing related goes to HR. I have to say, the only time they go out for a resource is because they can't find it themselves. And so based on vendors who are registered with them, with the Cancer Center, they will go to that list where they can't find. So if you're interested in providing staffing services, but I have to say, here's where that information I told you before has to separate you from others. We get, I swear to you, I'm just in my office alone, I would say I'm thinking if I'm getting about 20 or 20 calls a week from staffing companies. I cannot imagine what the HR department is getting. So what I encourage folks in staffing to do is, there's so many staffing companies. So you're calling us, what do you offer that anyone else doesn't? What differentiates you from any other? So for the folks that are registered in our Supplier Diversity program, we talk about that. I say to them, so talk to me. Everybody provides staffing. What specifically do you do? Okay, is it IT related staffing? Is that your niche? Because don't tell me you can do everything. Or is it that you have, or is it just medical staffing? Can you provide a critical care nurse? We're always looking for nurses that are in critical care, right? Or about that. Because if you just say, I'm a staffing company, and you go on and you could do, temp to perm and whatever, that doesn't interest us. What is going to stand out is you pick a niche as a staffing company to differentiate yourself from others. It's one of the most saturated area for small and diverse businesses to be in, and large businesses. So I'm just saying, on the staffing side, please differentiate yourself. And no, we don't have currently, like I said, our HR department will only reach out to the list of diverse or large businesses that are registered with the Cancer Center if they can't fill a need that they have.
That's good. Go ahead.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
So Desiree, can you talk about your Tier 1 and Tier 2 program and how people can get involved with that?
Well, I'm not sure. Let me just say, when the Cancer Center issues a bid or RFP, we ensure that there's language in there that says to anyone bidding on a Moffitt project or service or whatever, we talk about our supply diversity goals at the Cancer Center. And in there, we ask, in that RFP solicitation, we pass our requirements down to whoever that is responding to the bid. So we specifically ask you, if you were to be selected for this opportunity, is there opportunity, what percentage of this particular contract or project you will be working with small and diverse businesses, right? Diverse businesses. And they have to come back and tell us what that is. So basically what we're doing is making sure our primes, anybody doing business with us, also is adhering to our requests. Now there's some instances where it's like they're the manufacturer, they don't have an opportunity, but they let us know upfront. So when it comes to Tier 1, Moffitt Cancer Center ourselves, we buy directly. So any diverse businesses, that's our Tier 1 spend. And those businesses that don't have, they're not diverse, they report to us regarding their spend in subcontracting opportunities with other diverse businesses. And we're able to look at that and count that spend as well. So I hope I answered that question, but so I guess where Nancy's going, as you were listening, and this is something we encourage, whenever we have a bid and RFP opportunity out there, whether you can bid on it and provide all the work, or maybe you can just do a portion, get in on that bid, get in on those conference calls, because you can network with the companies who are bidding and coming as a partner, as a subcontractor, or whatever. We also registered with the Cancer Center. When folks are bidding on an RFP, we also provide them our diversity, certified diversity list to tell them if they're looking for subs, here, we already have vendors who are dying to work. Here is their information so they can put a team together. We see a lot of it in construction as well for different trades, but it's been very useful. So thank you for asking that question, Nancy, because those are other ways you can be doing business, direct or indirect with any organization.
Perfect, thanks.
And Desiree, I want to go back to something you were saying about capability statements. And Nancy, I think this is a time when we can talk about this, because this is very helpful for Desiree, it'd be helpful for Layla. The capability statement is such an important piece for business owners to have. And I don't know how many people on the phone, on the webinar here, think they have a good capability statement. Can you talk a little bit about that, Nancy, and what you guys are doing at WeBEC?
Sure. So a capability statement, as Desiree mentioned, is like a one-sheet bio of your business, right? And it's a really important document to have. And we're happy to say that we're going to be working with Go for the Greens to do a capabilities boot camp, capability statement boot camp. So what we're looking at doing is having you attend a session kind of like this, where we'll talk about the elements of a capability statement, and then we'll actually have 2 or 3 templates that you can choose from, and then right there you can work on your capability statement. I love helping people look at their capability statement and offer some suggestions. Just today I looked at one that had so much information because the WBE has a very large company and she provides different lines of service, all related to sustainable products. But she had everything but the kitchen sink on her capability statement. And that's really overkill, right? So if you provide different lines of products, you can do different capability statements. Because Desiree and the Supplier Diversity Managers, they want to just be able to read it quickly and say, yes, I can help you, or I need to suggest that you meet with somebody else. And, you know, words on a page are not going to do that. So we're going to do this boot camp and help you come up with a couple of really nice capability statements that you can use as you're marketing your company.
That's so exciting. And I know, Nancy, that's a big part of your new book. So
yeah.
Chapter in your new book.
Thank you. Thank you for the plug. Yes, so I have a new book called The Decision to Scale, and we have a whole chapter in there, and some really great examples of some wonderful capability statements.
Thank you. So Desiree, back to you. If we can ask you how your communication channels have changed with your current and your potential suppliers because of the pandemic. Are you doing anything differently today than what you had been doing, besides obviously not attending all the functions that we were all looking forward to doing?
You know, to be quite honest, I think, I'm not sure from the suppliers side, but from internally within our organization, we had to change. Already always communicated, you know, via online, rarely on the phone with suppliers anyway. So that was very easy, but it's what happened internally in our structure with us working from home, making sure that we ourselves as employees had all of the resources and everything that we can work from home and still have a seamless way of working. I know for me in Supplier Diversity, of course, not being able to, there's meetings I had to cancel or had to postpone, like events that that definitely helped to develop and grow small and diverse businesses. Those things we had to really change, but we're finding other ways. So even from my area in Supplier Diversity at the Cancer Center, what I did was I decided, since we know that some small businesses may be having challenges, so all of the information I receive regarding resources to help them, I put it on our website. We blasted email blasts to each one of our companies. Look, we're thinking about you too. Because we were getting emails, how are you guys doing? They're worried about us, and we're like, we're worried about you too. And so even though, you know, so I felt, what can we do from the Moffitt side to make sure that these small businesses know that there's these, you know, whether it's the SBA, the loans or whatever, the resources, the CARES Act. As soon as I get information from any organization, I put it on my website so that they're able to see, or if it's a webinar, we forward it out to our folks so that they could participate and they could stay in charge. So in a sense, I mean, it just shift where we did the business, like from, you know, staff. I mean, there's some critical staff there in the hospital, but most of us are working from home. But I'm proud of my institution. We all have the tools to be able to communicate seamlessly with the suppliers and engage with them. And you know, when this is all over, this crisis is over, as we sit back and reflect on the pros and the cons, we're going to see some, we're not going to, I don't think we're going to be doing business the same. I think we're going to enhance, because now we've learned we could do things a little bit differently and reach more people, even in, you know, a situation like this webinar. Look how many folks are attending this. So we're finding that, oh man, we should be doing more of this. So I think this is something that is going to help us to grow as well, to connect with the diverse and small businesses.
This is a good time for us to talk with Layla about what you're doing with the virtual matchmakers. So Layla, if you can kind of walk us through, for the people who are listening in and watching, what are you doing with the matchmakers? Tell us what you're doing right now with UPS and what you will be doing with Desiree, to just let us know what the process looks like.
Okay. I do want to mention first, though, that I am registered with Moffitt, and it's a really simple way to get registered. And they send me notifications every time something that may look like I can work on, I do get. And I even get the emails when I need to upload new certificates, when the certificates are being expired. So it's a really easy to register on, and you do get communication. So I would encourage everyone to do so. It won't take very much time at all. For the virtual matchmakers, what we're doing is, if you've done any matchmakers before in the past, you know that you need to provide a capability statement on the platform that we are providing, and I will type in the link. But you start with a business profile, just like you have before. This business profile will require you to have a capability statement uploaded. If you don't have one of those, maybe you can call Nancy or one of us, or we'll all be happy to help you, but you are going to need one to be able to create your business profile. Procurement representatives are not only will be able to look at your business profile, they will download your capability statement if they need to forward it to someone else within their company, or just print it out. It's going to come up as a PDF for them, so they can have your one pager. So it's really important that you have one that you're proud of, that you can upload to your business profile. Once your profile is set up, we have a list of events that you can use that one profile to apply to those events. So with UPS's event is there right now. There's a time setting for it. It's tomorrow from 1 to 5, I believe. They have their matchmaking slots. They have a 20-minute slots. They're going to be, you apply to be part of the event, you request a match. They will look at your business profile and your capability statement and agree to meet with you, or let you know that this time it's not possible. Once there is a meeting that's scheduled, it will show up on your agenda, and you click on that, and we're doing this. We have Zoom integrated into the virtual matchmaker software. So you just click on your meeting, which is scheduled for like 1 to 1:20, and you both be talking. The procurement people at UPS, they have about 10 meetings each, so they will be hanging up and clicking on the next link to be able to meet with the next supplier. But also to make it kind of to help you promote your products and services even more, we have set up what we call a digital expo, where you can create your opportunities. So if someone needs to go in there and find something really quickly, like masks or gloves, there's a search area where if you want to just promote your gloves or mask, you can go in there, create that, and someone can find you that way also.
Do you know that we have some requests? Do you know how to, the email address or the web address offhand for us to talk about getting into the matchmaker?
Sure, it's match.collider-us, like United States.com.
Okay, and I just went ahead and, oops, oh, hold on, I'm gonna say this is, send this out.
So once you go on there, you just sign up, you create your business profile, and then we have a list of events coming up. We'll be adding events. You can just use that one business profile to sign up to the different events.
That's great. Thank you, Layla.
You're welcome. Thank
We
you.
have some questions coming in too, and I want to see if we can ask some of these questions of you, Desiree. One person was asking if you're needing anything like, let's see, do you accept only N95 masks or also KN95 products?
So with the shortage, they were looking at both, but really it's the N95 masks that they were looking for in our procurement team. They are looking at other masks that are not, the surgical masks that can be worn outside of, the patient room. So we'd love to see, if that's something that you can provide, just share the information. But when you share any information on PPE items, they have to meet all the requirements. We ask you, so a good example, any supplier that is telling us that they have PPE, they normally send us their specification sheet and we look it over to decide if it's something we can use or not. So don't be hesitant to share that information with us so that the team can evaluate and see if it's a product that meets their needs.
They were asking also about anything, do you need forms, wristbands, or signage?
So again, I think I prefaced when I started talking before, we procure signage, signs, bands, all of that. So if that's a service, a product that you have, the same thing applies for you. Register the business, email the information to me. I can vet it and then I can forward it on to procurement. And so I'm sure my information, my email is out there, right? Or do I need to say it? It's very easy. It's my name, first name dot last name, Desiree, Desiree dot Hanson, Hanson at Moffitt.org. So
okay, I just put that.
I gotta tell you, we get a lot of emails. So what works best is registering, because you're alerted if you register as well. So if you send me something, I'm still gonna go, oh, I don't see you registered, because I can't send your information anyway without you registering your business with the Cancer Center. So make sure you register by going to Moffitt.org/supplier opportunities.
Okay, Moffitt.org
/supplier opportunities. IES, all one word.
Okay, opportunities. Okay, there we go. And that's for Milena was asking a question from Canada. Do they have to be, do the products have to be US made, or is that not a requirement?
It's not a requirement. I'm sure they're made, nationally and internationally. So they come from all over. They just have to follow the specific guidelines. So most of the PPE stuff, of course, were made in, Asia, and imported back here. Companies have factories in those countries and they come back to the States. So again, what is more critical is that every product, you have to tell us what it is, where it's made. All of the information must come on your spec sheet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was asking if they should submit a proposal directly to you, or do they go to the appropriate department? So give us some advice on how the chain of command works there, or how the chain works there.
So again,
preferred way anyway.
Again, I keep sending everybody to the website because it tells you our process, and the process is you register first. The second step is, if you're diverse, my office is notified if it's a diversity vendor, if that happens. And basically what happens at that point, the system also gives you the list of the buyers in procurement, so that you could send information to. But if you're a diverse supplier, I'm here to help you. What would be best is send me your capabilities so that I could really understand. Maybe I can give you advice and I can figure out what's the next step. The next step is I'll be doing the same thing. You're doing your piece in marketing your business to the Cancer Center by talking to the buyers, because our procurement process is centralized. We don't have people, vendors talking to our departments. We try to make sure it's organized, and it actually is very helpful for the vendor, because if somebody in Department X hears from the buyer and says, hey, I just spoke to, so-and-so and they provide this, it's a better way of coming to the department and they feel comfortable. So I recommend, following the process. We have a 3-step process that tells you about registering, marketing your business, and making sure that you're doing all of those things needed to keep in touch with folks quarterly or whatever. But for this specific question, I would say register, follow the steps in contacting the buyers, but send me your information as well so that I am able to make sure you're registered in the diversity directory. I can help promote you within the organization, which is a lot better. So,
Yeah.
And
Diane, real quick, as you know, I'm the time police. There was a question about security. Do you see that in the chat? It's further up about security.
Go ahead and ask.
Is that a question?
I'm not looking at it now.
Okay. So what was the question? I
I'm
could go back.
multitasking.
Yes, this was another one. Thank you, Cindy. It said, what do you use to manage the images from your security cameras? This vendor has video management system that will provide alerts and has facial recognition and license plate recognition capabilities. Is that something that would be of interest?
Well, I'm sure, you know, security is heightened at the Cancer Center, of course. I'm not sure about that specific technology. They may have it. I don't know. I'm not the perfect resource, but that's where I come in. If you register your business with the Cancer Center, send me those capabilities. I could reach out to our IT department to find out if that is a technology they'll be interested in, if they don't have something similar already. So, so the same thing would apply.
Okay, you guys, I have some people here, and this is one of the things about working at home. The yard guys have just arrived, so I'm moving to a new location so that you can hear me. Sorry about that. Layla, we wanted to ask you if you can come back to us. We were wondering about the expo that goes along with the matchmaker sessions. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that works?
Sure. Sorry, I actually I'm getting requests for UPS tomorrow, and I want to make sure those people are taken care of. So I'm getting off the video to make sure they're okay. So the Digital Expo, think about that as a trade show. With the Go for the Greens membership, you get 3 tables for that expo. So each table gives you the ability to promote one item. And it also gives you the ability to not only do a description and pictures, but you can add a video. So if you have a video of it being made in the factory, or someone using it, anything like that, you can upload that so the folks can see it. So it's another tool for procurement or even other contractors that are looking for a specific item. They can just put in that one word and find you. So think about being focused and on one item, and you can do that 3 times.
Will there be a different one for each time you do a matchmaker? So there's one for UPS, there'll be a different one for Moffitt and that kind of thing? Or is it kind of an ongoing kind of expo?
Yeah, so the Digital Expo is ongoing. You can just, it'll stay up there right now because we're just reaching out to everyone, making sure everyone stays engaged and everyone is being, we're all coming together. There's no charge. We're just working as a community. Normally there is a charge for those things. So we've just opened up to everyone so that you can stay connected and engaged. Really, that was what we were thinking about from the beginning when we had the conversation, Diane and Cindy and I, and the events. So right now, I know I had a couple people ask me about the Moffitt event as we're talking. The Moffitt event is not on the event, so we have an events tab also. I think there's like 6 or 7 events up there right now, including the UPS event tomorrow. Once you, when you do when you create your business profile, you can sign up to the events on that list. So there's no event from Moffitt right there. We're still trying to come up with a date that is for Desiree. So there's no way to sign up to do a virtual matchmaker with Desiree right now through the platform.
Okay, thank you for all that information. That is great.
Thank you.
Desiree, if you can tell us, in kind of our closing piece, what kind of advice would you give to people who are trying today to do business in this new world, this new virtual world? And I want to ask the same of you, Nancy, after Desiree answers. What advice do you have for the business owners who are so used to doing things in person and by telephone and being able to go to these events and all that? What would you say to them in trying to cope with how things are working today?
I say to them, we have to be, even in my situation, we just have to be able to be adaptable. You have to adapt and pivot. But what I've got to tell you, I am extremely proud of our small and diverse businesses because they have adapted in a sense that they're not necessarily having to, attend 4 or 5 different meetings. The fact that they can now, hopefully in situations like this, making sure that they're really participating in this, in webinars and information sessions that's going to help them to develop and grow their business and make new connections. I think small businesses are even learning about other small businesses because of webinars like this that they have not met before. So I encourage that. I see it as an opportunity to open their horizons to other businesses that they could possibly have partnerships with. Whereas just focusing on 1 or 2 companies, now you're seeing the big picture. This new mode has really helped people to really hear from others. How are they experiencing? What are they doing to survive this pandemic? And they're learning about that as well. I truly believe, even I see this on both sides, that this whether it's the procurement side of things with large organizations like Moffitt, or whether it's the supplier, I think this has opened up some better relationships. I think the relationships are even being developed even more because we're literally now we're talking to you, we could see you now because we're all using these, Zoom meetings and, other Skype meetings and other platforms where we're actually literally talking to a person, seeing them and hearing from them directly. So you never know. And the folks through this particular period that has been able to show that they can pivot. Oh, today, we were selling you, like the company, we were selling you, merchandising equipment, bags and with promotional items on it. But now here we are actually now manufacturing gowns and so on. I had a company, and I'm sharing this, and to make it really short, this will be my last example. We have a printing company locally in Tampa that contacted my office, and I'm just saying, no, we're talking to each other like this. And he says, we will make face shields because they already work in the heavy plastics. So they're making face shields. I mean, just being able to pivot like that. And that is the success of our American businesses. Small businesses really are the ones who are helping us survive this pandemic, because they are, again, they're very, very adaptable, and they're nimble, and they can move when situations like this happen. So I am proud. So I'm not sure if this is advice, but I said they need to keep doing what they're doing. And they're doing an amazing job considering the circumstances in which we're working. We all will be better for it when this is all over.
Listening.
That's such a great answer, Desiree.
Mm-hmm.
Because it talks about leadership, right? And it talks about small business owners being leaders. We did have another question from someone that says, Desiree, what is Moffitt doing to help its employees during this stressful period?
Oh gosh. So we're all, just amazing. Our team members and our patients, of course, is utmost importance to the Cancer Center. So we've offered, the working from home situation, daycare, making sure we actually have our own daycare center at the Cancer Center. So for team members who still need the daycare facilities, we're even offering to subsidize that or to pay for that, so they're not worried about that. We're trying to people are bringing masks making masks and donating it. You know, there's just so much our leaders at the Cancer Center that are doing to help all of us combat and deal with this crisis and with our patients at this time. So I'm just very proud. There's just so much is just unbelievable. I think what is also key, and this is where the leadership coming that Nancy talked about, is the communication. I cannot begin to tell you, our leaders, we communicate on a day, like twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. All of the communication pieces that are being put in place now to make sure that I am making sure that the health and safety of all of our employees are utmost importance to the Cancer Center. So there's things I read every day. Our leaders talk to us every day in Zoom meetings. I mean, so I just can't begin as an employee to tell you how proud I am of the leadership at our Cancer Center, what they're doing for employees, for patients, for the community. As well. There's things that we're doing. So I'm very pleased.
Beautiful. And can you speak specifically, Desiree, to training opportunities? So are there opportunities for wellness coaches or leadership coaches or, you know, that kind of thing for training in-house?
So, you know, the Cancer Center has its own organization development and training division, and an amazing group of people that provide all kinds of training and programming for employees and so on. The only time they outsource for that is if it's a topic that they can't cover themselves or they don't have the resources. And so if anyone on this webinar is in, you know, providing that type of training, again, you would have to register, send me your capabilities, and I could share it with organization development and training. And if it's a great topic, that's something they haven't thought of, I'm sure they'll be calling you. So that.
Great, thank you.
All right. Desiree Hanson, Nancy Allen, thank you so much for being with us today. And I'd like to hand it back off to
Diane, can I say something before you cut us off?
I'd like to hand it back off to Cindy to close it out.
I was going to say before, or actually, I'm probably going to get unmuted, or I think you delete me on purpose at the end.
Let's try not to mute yourself as you're saying goodbye.
Yeah, well, no, I think I get cut off, but anyway, just real quick, thank you so much for Desiree. For those of you that have never been to Go for the Greens, Desiree is just like when you saw her today. She is so personal. She will get to know you even more than she got to know you today. Nancy Allen, thank you so much. Nancy Allen comes to Go for the Greens. She does everything that she can do to help commerce, you know, make it happen for you and with your capability statements or whatever. And of course, Diane Sears, you did a great job. Thank you. You always do a fabulous job with the hosting of this. And Collider, Layla is doing a great job. So stay tuned. I would say for those of you that are old like me, same bat channel, same bat time. And we're doing this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Different sponsors, different corporations, and we're just trying to keep commerce moving. So I just want to say thank you for doing what you're doing. This is all about making this happen.
I have one more thing to say. Can I do a plug real quick?
Yes.
So my plug is Go for the Greens plug, and I want to tell everyone that's on the on this webinar today that what an organization. I have attended so many of the Go for the Greens conferences, and the relationships I've built over the years has been incredible. If you are in business and you have never been to a Go for the Greens conference, you don't know what you're missing. Because one of the things I notice, I am always impressed with the businesses that these women are in, the level of business, amazing, and different sizes. I'm so pleased and so proud of attending that event. So if you have not attended an event for Go for the Greens, make it part of, you know, to do this, whether it's next year or this year, whatever happens, but you will learn a lot.
Wow. Well, I'm taken back by that.
Yes.
Thank you, Desiree.
Thank you, Desiree.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So are there any chats, Diane, because you are the master of this? It looks like there's some questions. How are we going to deal with that? Or, you know, we're just going to keep sending out the blast. So from a communication.
Yep, we're going to send out an email to everyone who was on this and give you the information to register for the virtual matchmakers and also how to get in touch with Moffitt. So So yeah, we'll send out a follow-up email to all of you. Thanks for everyone. Thanks to everyone for being on the call today.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great Wednesday.
Until next time, be safe.
See you next week.
Bye.
Okay, Diane, am I shutting off the recording or you? I think it's still recording.